when I get in the military, when I joined the Air Force, and the guy gave me an ASVAB test. It's like a watered down SAT, and I couldn't copy on it because the guy beside me had test A, I had test B, the guy on the right had test C. So I went to copy on this test, and I couldn't copy on it, so I got like a 20. And I wanted to be an Air Force pararescuer. It's guys that jump out of airplanes and save down pilots. It's a special operator in the Air Force. And my score was so horribly low, I would retake it again. And he said, hey, I got like an 18 the second time, even worse. I need to get a 50 out of a 99. And so my mom and I, for a while, we lived in the government subsidized apartments, $7 a month, and also food stamps. And we slowly moved up to a $230 a month place. But at the time, pretty poor. But my mom afforded enough money for me to go to see a tutor 1 hour a week. So for 4 hours a month, I had 6 months to study for my last test. I only took the acid test 3 times. And I studied my ass off to pass.
Siema. Dzisiaj wlatują znowu lody owocowe. Mamy tu pół kilo owoców leśnych, z czego około połowę wrzucamy do pojemnika. O, chyba więcej niż połowę wrzuciłem, nieważne. 3/4. Do tego mamy śmietanę 35, taką naturalną od rolnika. No i zalewamy to wszystko śmietaną. Też 3/4. No i mamy proces robienia lodów zakończony.
But this water was kicking my ass, and 6 weeks into the program, the doctor gave me a blood test. It was at sickle cell. Sickle cell killed, not the anemia, but it still killed people. But so they put me out of training for a week, and when you go from being very uncomfortable in that water,
no i zaczynamy dzień od wieczór od deseru.
I'm not part of the activities anymore for this week. I don't want to get back in that damn water again. So the fear overcame me, and all my insecurities from my dad, from this small town, from everything started coming back. And even though no one knew how fucked up I was, I created this other person who was tough, I lived with this shit all the time. So me not wanting to go back in that water, the doctor called me back up. I thought I was getting like a medical kick out of the military. So no quitting for me. They'll kick me out so I can have some pride. The doctor said, no, I'll put you back in the training. And I was like, fuck. But after a week, I'm like, you know what? I missed 1 week. There's only 3 weeks left. There's a good chance, I could tough this shit out and go on.
Siema.
I went back to the CO and the commanding officer of the program, and the sergeant said, hey, you got to start from day 1 because you missed, that week of training. And I broke. I couldn't imagine going back through that again. So I made up a lie.
Najzdrowsze lody.
And I said, man, the sickle cell thing is really scaring me. It was the fucking water, it wasn't sickle cell. And I pretty much quit. Even though they gave me a medical, I quit. So from the age of 19 to the age of 22, I went and did a job called TAC-P, where you control fast movers behind enemy lines. Cool job, but there's no water. I was afraid of the water, so I avoided it. And I gained 125 pounds in that time frame. I went from 175 to almost 300.
Pozdrawiam.
Was my heaviest. And I started finding things that was comfortable. And the more things I found comfortable, the more uncomfortable my mind was. Because that voice I was telling you about, it always was there. I was just trying to avoid that conscience. I wanted to be left alone from that conscience, and it wouldn't leave me alone. So I got out of the Air Force, and I started working for a job called Ecolab, where you spray for cockroaches at 24, and spraying at different steak and shakes, Red Lobster, whatever, from 11 o'clock at night to 7 o'clock in the morning. And what changed, I came home and watched this Discovery Channel show, Class 224. I came home from Steak and Shake. I sprayed it down last, get a big old large 42-ounce shake, walk across the street and get a box of mini donuts from 7-Eleven. And I would drive home for 45 minutes. This big old fat guy who, yeah, I worked out, but I was fat. I didn't run, didn't PT, I just hit the gym. So driving home, turn the TV on, and what comes on, the Discovery Channel show, and that's where everything changed for me. I was taking a shower, I walked out, heard these guys, and I watched the show.
Mieszkam w Szwajcarii.
Big time on the piece of shit that I am, and I'm exactly what people say.
Od 3 lat.
So what was on this show that really struck home? It was, I saw these guys going in the water, so I was terrified of it. I mean, I can't even express. Have you ever had a big fear? And I know a lot of fighters have fears and stuff like that, but they get over them. But a lot of us have these fears that you just don't want to.
No to pozdrawiam Sarę i Wiktorię i ciebie.
I had a lot of them. And that's what created the person who's in front of you today. I'll get into that.
Moc, kurde.
But just a scared bitch is what I was.
Napinka musi być na taki komentarz.
These guys going through Hell Week, Class 224, and these guys ringing the bell, quitting, dropping their helmet down, rolling out. A lot of guys just leaving, and it made me reflect on my fears, my insecurities, and I saw real men, what I thought were real men who were staying, who were overcoming adversity, who were overcoming all these different things that I had blamed so many fucking people in my life, my dad, my mom for not being there.
Też mieszkałem 5 lat w Niemczech wcześniej. Znam Niemcy.
And then I moved back to a small town in Brazil, and everybody was blind. My learning disability, my skin color, you know, me being everything. And so I sat there for a while, and I was like, man, I got it. No one's gonna fucking come to help me. No one's gonna fucking come to help me. It's fucking me against me, period. And,
Kawał chłopa, reszta chama.
I said, the first thing I gotta start doing is facing every fucking fear I have. No matter what the fuck it is, man. And these things would keep me.
Co sądzisz o aferze z Boxtelem? Nie wiem kto to jest Boxtel. To jest jakiś gościu chyba z Fame MMA, nie wiem. Który ma dużo kasy. Myślę, że to jakaś afera szyta grubymi nićmi. Jak ktoś ma dużo kasy, no to chcą go ogolić z tej kasy. Nie wiem, ja nie znam szczegółów, ale taka pierwsza myśl. Bo nie słyszałem w ogóle o tej aferze, nie wiem o co chodzi. Ale często jest tak, że jak ktoś, co ma dużo kasy, wybucha o nim afera jakaś, no to głównym powodem tego jest zazwyczaj to, że gość ma za dużo hajsu i chcą go ograbić z tych pieniędzy. Ale nie wiem, tak jak mówię, ja w ogóle nie słyszałem o takiej aferze i nie znam szczegółów i nie wiem o co chodzi.
To get into the class I had to lose 106 pounds in less than 3 months. So I was like, fuck that, I can't do that. I grabbed my chocolate milkshake and went back to Ecolab. I'm going back to work, man. This is my life. So in this job, you're looking for cockroaches, looking for rodents and stuff like that. And this next morning or this next night, I went to work and I don't like cockroaches too much. I hit the mother load of cockroaches. And this restaurant got full of cockroaches and rodents and everything else. And I sat there and I said, this is my life. I said, this is my life. You are exactly who the fuck, this is it. And I said, this ain't gonna be it for me. So in that restaurant, I quit my job, left my canister in that restaurant, my spray canister, got back in my Ecolab truck, and I went home. And I started working out like somebody, I became the most obsessed person on the planet Earth. And I was basically, I had to invent a guy that didn't exist. I had to invent a guy that can take any pain, any suffering, any kind of judgment, be called nigger, fuck in the world, and be able to stand in a fucking room and say, go fuck yourself. I had to build this callous mind, and I built it through suffering. I built it through downright fucking just crushing myself. If it was raining outside at 3 o'clock in the fucking morning, if it was snowing, the first instinct is don't go out there and do shit. My instinct was,
wiem, dzisiaj do tych lodów dodamy sobie jeszcze szwajcarski miód. Podobno zdrowy.
I had to go do it. And I started callousing my mind at this point in my life. And I lost the weight.
Teraz mamy lody owocowo i miodowe.
I went through 3 Navy SEAL Hell Weeks in 1 year. Only guy to ever be in 3 Hell Weeks in 1 year, to my knowledge. The first one I didn't make it through. The next 2 I did. And that I just didn't stop anymore from there. And I started realizing through this process that
czemu jestem gruby? Bo dużo jem, kurze. Lubię dużo jeść.
It changed my whole mindset. So I went from David Goggins and I created Goggins. And that journey is a priceless journey that is hard for me to even explain to people because it sounds so quick and easy. Like I lost this weight and I went through 3 Hell Weeks. I went to Ranger School, went to Delta Force Selection, whatever it is. It was brutal. It's a brutal journey every fucking
Moje
day.
życie to żart. No wiem o tym. Życzę każdemu, żeby jego życie było żartem.
Where I'm at today is in front of Joe Rogan telling you my life. To get through where I became, to get through where I'm at now.
Mi z pracą w Szwajcarii jest bardzo lekko.
I can't really show people that I have this face that they see like, are you happy? What's wrong with you? I'm driven. I'm obsessed. And that's what you see. That's it.
People need to hear the story. This is an exciting story for people because there's a lot
Ile
of
dziennie
people
godzin?
trapped.
Dzisiaj robiłem 9 godzin.
They can't do anything. This is who they are. You're a guy who felt that exact same way, but figured out
Różnie.
how to not be that person
8-9 godzin.
you would admire. How did you? What were the first steps? Like you had.
A w piątki krócej.
Because you quit because of the water.
Piątki nawet 7 godzin.
The second time you decided you're gonna lose all that weight and you quit that job. Was it just straightforward from there?
Normalnie 40 parę godzin w tygodniu. Tyle co w Polsce.
So my first run, when I decided to lose the weight, I was, like I said, 297.
Ile waży 100 kilo?
About 32% body fat. And my idea was to run 4 miles for my first run. I didn't know how bad it's going to fucking hurt me. I used to run before I was fat, and I was like, fuck it, I can do this. I ran a 1/4 mile and walked home. I walked home and sat on my couch and cried. I went to my mom's house, who was about maybe 20 minutes down the road, and cried again in her couch, saying, man, I can't fucking do this shit. I don't know what I'm going to do. I just got somebody pregnant. My life was just fucked. I was making $1,000 a month. My rent was $810 a month, and my mind just kept fucking with me. And kept fucking, you're not good enough, man. This isn't for you, man. These guys are the baddest motherfuckers on planet Earth. You're not that. And what it was, and it's kind of funny.
Ja ciągnę druty.
One in particular. And when I was a kid,
Zawodowo ciągnę druty.
I watched this fucking show, Rocky. And I would fast forward with the little VHS tapes to round 14. Round 14 fucked me up like nobody's business. Why? This song came on, right? So when I bought the pull-up record, I listened to the song for 17 hours. It's 2 minutes and 13 seconds.
No,
And
jakie
I able to
pytanie?
visualize and dream like nobody's business. And I know that I can create a vision that many people can't. and I worked for it. So the vision I had was when Apollo Creed beat the fucking shit out of Rocky, beat the shit out of him, he kept fighting. He was a dumb fighter, couldn't read, couldn't fuck, that was me. Couldn't read, couldn't write, just punchy, everything about him. And Rocky beat the shit, or Apollo beat the shit out of him. He was in that corner, and everybody was saying, stay the fuck down. And him getting up, Apollo Creed raised his arms up in the fucking air, turned around, thought he won the fight. He turns around and sees this guy getting up, and it was the face of Apollo Creed that changed my life. The face of Apollo Creed. It was like, just by that motherfucker getting up, not winning, just by him getting the fuck up, Apollo Creed was his best. Rocky had taken his soul. Had literally taken his soul. His head goes down, he looks at him like, what the fuck are you? I wanted to be that. Not Rocky. I wanted to be the guy that people looked at. I don't care if you like me or didn't like, I don't care. But said, this motherfucker is going to keep coming after whatever the fuck is in front of him. I wanted that. I wanted that worse than anything in the world. So that is, I kept picturing me falling down and getting up, and every motherfucker that called me nigger, I was dumb. Even myself, I wanted to feel something besides defeat. I wanted to just go the distance. And that going the distance pushed me to a point of where now I go way past the distance.
So you go the first day, you run a quarter mile, and you walk back home, and
right.
you're upset. How do you move forward?
So basically what I did was I came home, and I had a chocolate milkshake. I sat down and I gave up. I said, this ain't gonna fucking happen, man. I could lose 106 pounds and I can't even go a quarter fucking mile. I started being able to take negative shit and be happy. And this whole, I say what if a lot, it sounds corny and it sounds weak, but it's true. One of the recruiters said there's not many black Navy SEALs. In fact, I was a 36 African.
W środku Szwajcarii.
Over 7 years. Because of the fucking water, you know. Right. I mean, people get mad at me. It's fucking true. Just get over it. And so
Lody.
I was like, man, what story would it be if my fucking fat, dumb, lying to be friends with people, insecure ass can overcome this shit? And that what if mentality, like that dreamer mentality, just would always fuel me. It was true, man. What if I can
I on niedaleko Lucerny.
be a SEAL, man? What if I can go from running a quarter of a fucking mile, now I run 205 miles? What if I can go? What if I can go? And what if, how would that feel if I'm graduating? Can I get at the graduation thing I'm talking about, 224, like the video I sat down and watched? This commanding officer stood up and he said,
No lubię lody.
Guys who graduate the buds, like 18 of them. He said, we live in a society where mediocrity is often rewarded. And he went on to say something about these men detest mediocrity. And I wanted to be a man that detests mediocrity. It got me in a lot of trouble in the SEAL teams and going forward in my life because I started looking down on people for not going hard as fucking shit. And I started to create different things, but that's for a different day. But I just believed that, you know, my whole mind changed.
That is a problem that a lot of people who work hard do have. You get angry at people who don't work hard to the point where you want to insult them, you want to smack them, and it's really because you're scared of seeing that yourself.
Yeah, that's probably true. That's probably true. So I guess a lot of times I would see people, and it probably was a direct reflection of who I was. And I would get mad at them, but in reflection, it's probably just getting mad at myself.
Yeah, that's for me, 100%. When I see people that are half-assing things, I get terrified of seeing that in myself, and I get mad at them.
Right.
And it's not a good way to handle it.
No.
You know, but it's natural because you're just terrified of seeing that trait.
Right. And it cost me.
So you come back, you do the quarter mile,
right?
You walk back home. How do you regroup?
So what I did, I sat down there and I put Rocky in. I got my milkshake, put Rocky. I said, you know what? I was big time in Rocky and Platoon. Why Platoon? I love to see people who were getting beat down, and there's scenes. There's scenes that just drove me, and people in my helmets, you know, I was in 3 of them, they'd always hear me singing these songs, humming these songs in torturous situations. When everybody's quitting this fucking code, I would be somewhere gone somewhere fucking gone, or somewhere fucking dark as shit. There's a scene in Platoon when Elias, when Barnes shoots Elias, and you know they think Elias is dead, and the choppers are taking off, and Charlie Sheen's asking, you know, Tom Berenger, "Where's Elias? Where's Elias?" William Dafoe. "Oh, I found him back there dead somewhere." And through the woods, the Viet Cong is chasing Elias.
Nie wracam do
shooting
Polski.
his fucking back. And all he wants to do is get to the fucking chopper. He's getting shot in his back, he's getting up, he's getting shot in the back, he's getting up. And you see this guy just fighting. I love the fucking guy who just fucking fights. And so I put these things in as reminders that you're gonna have to fucking suffer, man. This fucking .25, man, this is, man, you're gonna have to fucking suffer. To go from this fat, insecure motherfucker to one of the best guys on the planet Earth, this journey is gonna take something that is gonna be incomprehensible to most people. And these different visualizations.
Za niskie zarobki w Polsce.
In my self-talk, it became so nasty and dirty that I almost liked the fact that I went .25. So it became from being defeated to like, man, all right, motherfucker, maybe Marvin go .75. You know, it just became this different mindset. I turned negatives into positives. So I would take like, who would even think about doing this? So I would sit on my couch saying, who at 297 who can't fucking swim that?
Nie wyżyłbym w Polsce, kurde, za polską pensję. Umarłbym z głodu.
And go and just put everything on himself. So it's how I start talking to myself and put myself in a whole different category, and that would fuel me the next day. And I just kept using that as fuel. No one would do this shit. No one would do this
Wiem
shit.
o tym.
Fucker around. You're the fastest motherfucker ever lived. And I just kept fueling me with the right kind of message that I needed to hear that I was never telling myself. And through time,
Ja zarabiam tak
it became reality.
4,5 tysiąca miesięcznie.
You start out on the first day, and then do you start running again the second day?
Yeah, the second day we're right back after it again. But I started realizing I can't run that far.
Right.
So what I did was I became damn near a professional cyclist with the miles I put on the bike.
Tak 4,5 tysiąca
Whenever I watch TV, I had to be doing
franków miesięcznie zarabiam.
I rode a bike a lot to lose the first initial kind of weight because my bones were just hurting so bad. My body was just broken. And I learned to get over that also. And I tried to swim a lot. I wasn't a great swimmer, but putting fins on kind of equalized my body and also negative buoyant. So I started fitting a whole bunch. And I spent hours in the pool, trying to get more and more comfortable. Not because I was going underwater. I was so scared of the water that I had to live in the water. I had to become one with the water. So going to the pool used to scare me. So I went to the pool an awful lot. And then the bike got easier. I was able to run more. I went from like 1 mile to 4 to 2 miles, and then from 2 to 3 was a bigger minute. I went from 3 to 6. And then, like, they have a warning order that they give people to get ready for bugs. And the whole thing was running 6 miles 5 days a week. And that was my goal. And so I just I failed, I go back to scratch.
Pół litra śmietany 35.
But I started realizing this is part of the process. This is part of the journey. I had to realize this is part of my process. Versus just saying, like I used to, I'm just not good enough. If I'm not good enough, we always say that shit. I'm just not good enough. And then we try something else. I'm gonna fucking make myself good enough. And that became my mentality. I'm gonna make myself good enough. And so I'm misunderstood a lot. But that's all it came down to. I made myself good enough. And the days I couldn't run that far, the next week, I would do 2 a days. So like on the running, if I ran a quarter of a mile, I wait a fucking couple hours, it haunt me, bother me. I try to run a half mile next time, same day. You can do more than this. If I had to walk, I had to walk. It just became just a process of grinding. And grinding is not even a good word for it. It's not even a good word for it. And just going further and further. And then when I got through running, I go to the bike. I go to the pool. If I got tired somewhere, my legs were tired, I go to the gym. And I developed this crazy workout where I was doing volume, like 200-300 reps of like very lightweight. People always say, how come you don't have any like loose skin? My workout routine in the gym became sick. It became sick. I was just doing 200-300 reps, 400 reps on like chest, just like for one simple exercise, the bench press. And I rack it, get back on it, just rep it out. trying to burn as many calories as I can, build that muscle.
Sól jest bardzo
And
zdrowa.
I just became obsessed with it.
So when you're doing this, are you worried about
Bardzo dużo soli.
repetitive stress injuries or the fact that your body's not conditioned for this, and you're basically taking your body where you had abused it,
Right.
and now you're forcing it to live like an elite athlete.
Right. I didn't care. I didn't know any better. I didn't think about it.
Wow.
I didn't know that working out that hard would fuck you up.
Did it fuck you up?
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
That's one reason why I went through 3 hell weeks. So I don't talk about it a lot, but the stress in my life getting to 24 caused me to have some serious psoas issues. I didn't know anything about this shit. The psoas muscle is what we use. It's your hip flexor muscle. And basically under stress, it starts to tighten up. And I stuttered from the time I was in 3rd grade, the time I was in 7th grade, white blotches on my skin. I was a nutcase. And so the insides of me are also getting fucked up. So in this process, my psoas muscle got real tight to my T12. I can show you the bump in the back of my head after this show is over, but I started growing this fucking like large tumor-looking bump in the back of my head from my body compressing. So I'm 6'1", but my muscles were like 5'9".
Nie wiem, chyba mam za dużo pieniędzy.
The muscle tightness from my psoas going to my T12.
Podobno im więcej się ma pieniędzy na koncie, tym się gorzej wygląda.
The stress in my life. So the more I stressed my body with the workouts, my lower body became out of balance. So I had a bunch of stress fractures, a bunch of injuries going through buds. And how I got through buds was they gave me my 3rd time, was my last time going through Hell Week. I basically put a black sock on at 4 o'clock in the morning, and I would get duct taped. I had numerous stress fractures on both of my legs because my body was literally like coming in on itself. And my legs were like, I was pronating it really bad and putting stress on my shins. And so I would put duct tape. I would duct tape my feet, and I would show you the top of them where I have pressure ulcers that are the size of quarters from, how the ankle joint, so the foot goes to the shin, and how you move this. Where the tape was so tight, it just created a nice ulcer right there. And
Nie podzielę się kasą.
just kept going through it.
So you just use that tape to just support your ankles.
Right, so I basically cast myself, and for the first 30, 45 minutes, the pain was excruciating, but then it would go numb. And I would go numb, and then that's how I got through.
Wow.
Nie rozumiem, dlaczego miałbym się z kimś dzielić moimi
I've been
pieniędzmi.
out for 5 years, so I retired I did 21 years in the military. I did time in the Air Force, and I did about 16 years in the Navy.
How old are you?
43.
So you look like you're 30.
That's good. That's good.
You look very young for your age.
Whenever I'm stressed, I get after it. I fix whatever's bothering me. So I basically over the last 5 years, everything I've done in my life, I did it being very unhealthy. I've never talked about it. I just kept going. And it cost me pretty much, I was choking my insides out. Adrenal issues, tons of adrenal issues, thyroid issues, anything with the endocrine system pretty much shut down on me. My organs were pretty much shutting down. And I went from a guy who could run 205 miles to a guy who couldn't get out of bed. And the doctors were trying to search what was wrong. That's why I figured out the psoas muscle. No one figured it out. And I hit it by accident. So I've missed 2 years of stretching out in 5 years. And so what happened was all the shit I did to myself, the stress I was under, physical, mental, all kind of shit, it just choked me out from the inside. And doctors put me on all kind of medication. And the medication started doing the exact opposite of
What kind of shit?
I was on DHEA. I was on some different things for my estrogen, different things for my. I was on anything to do with your endocrine system. Thyroid medicine. Good God, I was on cortisol, all kind of shit to get my stuff. And I had like this lump in my throat from like the heart was always. I couldn't run down the street. My body was just jacked up. Couldn't sleep. My whole body was just down, shutting down. I could give you a lot more than that, but just to give you an example, I was fucking dying. And so I couldn't do anything. Went from a guy who was this guy to a guy who can't do shit. And the doctor's like, I don't know what's wrong with you, man. You know, your labs are this. Is it PTSD? Is it what's going on? I knew what any of that shit. So I sat in the bed one day and I realized, man, my life is over. This is it. But it gave me time to reflect on everything I had accomplished. God, I'd never taken time to reflect on the kid I was to the man I am now. So honestly, the time I wasn't working out
Jakim trzeba być
was the best time of my life because I got a chance to
bezmózgiem, żeby zazdrościć komuś jedzenia?
I never took time to do that. It was like one after another. Get the fuck after it. Get after it. Get after it. You ain't good enough, motherfucker. Get after it. Get after it. And I got halted. So anyway,
Następny gościu mi zazdrości jedzenia.
This isn't working. That's not working. No doctor can figure it out. I'm like, fuck it.
Jakim trzeba być bezmózgiem, żeby zazdrościć człowiekowi jedzenia?
He was like, hey man, you're so fucking tight. I've never seen anybody in my life as tight as you.
Chyba że taka bieda w Polsce panuje, że
He's doing some crazy number.
ludzie nie mają co jeść i jak widzą na kamerze jedzenie, no to wpadają w szał.
You thought stretch was that
Yeah,
way?
that's just bad for you, man.
Nie wiem, dawno w Polsce nie byłem.
Man, fuck stretching, man. You know, I worked out so hard, I didn't have time to stretch. Man, I was running 150 miles a week. I was biking to work, man. I was getting after it, man. I was working a full-time job. And stretching, and doing that. So my body was literally getting tighter and tighter, not just from what I was doing. Everybody thinks, oh, because you ran this. No, it wasn't that, man. And so I said, no, I'm going to try and stretch out. So I don't do anything for like 10 minutes. I don't do no 6-minute ab bullshit. So I started stretching out 1 hour, hour and a half. Long story short, man, I shave my head almost every morning. And that bump that's on the back of my fucking head, I started realizing it was shrinking for some fucking reason. I don't know why. Because I shaved my head back and I was like, it's getting smaller. Smaller that bump got, healthier I got. Smaller that bump got, I was like, oh, hold up, motherfucker. What's going on? Got so as the muscles started getting more and more stretched out, more and more relaxed. And over a period of 5 years, I'm in the best shape of my damn life right now from stretching out.
Wow.
That's all it was. I went from like, I can't even count the medications I was on. Now I'm on a very low dose thyroid pill. Period. Do you ever do yoga? All the time, man. All the time. And I if I were to tell somebody one thing right now, man, that psoas muscle and getting that hip flexor opened up, because we're all stressed the fuck out. It's so much worse than others. It changed my life.
Yeah. How do you say Nick Gregorius? How do you say his last name? The Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu black belt from England, the Greek fella. He has a great quote about yoga. He said, "Yoga is a martial art you do against yourself."
Yep.
It's a great way of putting it.
100%.
That's what it feels like when you're in there, right?
100%.
And so, how many years ago was this? It was 5 years ago?
5 years
you couldn't
ago.
do anything? And how long was there a period where you couldn't work out at all?
There was so I always try to do something, but I couldn't run hardly at all. I could run maybe half a mile, and all that heart shit would happen, and my heart would get AFib, and all kinds of stuff would happen. And I started just stretching, and also I tried to do pull-ups every now and then, but everything was just, I didn't have the energy. I didn't have anything. I mean, nothing was processing that for me.
So did you think that you just broken your body because you
yeah.
pushed it too hard?
100%. I sat back in that bed that night, and I had a lot of time to reflect. I said, you know what? I was actually kind of proud of myself in a very sick, twisted way. I even though people don't understand it, I had to do what I had to do. And, and I did it. Like, I didn't tell you how I got into ultra running. There's a lot of things that, so I pushed it extremely hard. I went way beyond what I thought was capable. My first ultra race I did, I was heavier. I was in Iraq, the Marcus the Trail, lone survivor. I was in bunks, I was in 3 hell weeks, as you know, as I said many times, and I knew a lot of guys that died in the operation. And I was at free fall school with Mark on the Trail, who was his twin brother, during the Operation Reverence, where Mark the Trail was a survivor. I knew Mark the Trail well, and I was about 200 some odd pounds, and I didn't run hardly at all at this time. I was a SEAL, but I was like a bodybuilder. And I did elliptical training 20 minutes on Sunday. All I did. That's all I did. Fuck that cardio stuff. I was never about it until this happened. So that happened, and I was like, man, I gotta find a way to raise money for these families. So I Googled it. I found a foundation, Special Operations Warrior Foundation, and I Googled the 10 hardest races in the world. I knew nothing about ultra running. Of course, I didn't run like 20 miles.
No ładne są dziewczyny.
We came up with a bad water run through
Jak w każdym kraju.
25 mile run through Death Valley in the summertime. I thought it was a fucking stage race.
W każdym kraju są ładne dziewczyny.
35 miles at one time. I had no idea it was possible. Stage race. Where you run like 20 miles, camp out, and then run 20 more until you get 135 miles. Right. So I went to ultra runners. I know what ultra runner was. I called the race director up, Chris Kosman, the bad water. And he said, "Are you an ultra runner?" And I was like, "I don't know what that is." He goes, "Have you run 100 miles in 24 hours or less?" I was like, "No." I said, "I'm a Navy SEAL. I was in 3 Hell Weeks. I was a Ranger." I gave him some resume. He didn't give a shit. He said, "I don't care. You got to qualify for my race." And the deadline was up in 2 months for this bad water race. And basically, he said, "There's 2 more races you can do to qualify. And I might consider you in a race. We select top 90 athletes in the world. And you know, you're ultra running. But I like your cause, like what you're doing." He said, "I'll call him up on a Wednesday." And he goes, "There's a race on Saturday in San Diego one day, where you run around a 1 mile track for 24 hours. See how many miles you can get. If you get 124 hours, I will consider you in my race." I did the math, 14 some minute mile. Fuck it, I can do that. Dumb shit thinking, I'll tell you that right now. It was rough. Worst pain I've been in my entire life with this race. So I have my wife at the time, she's now my ex-wife. We go to Walmart, get a blue lawn chair, Ritz crackers, and Mileplex. That's what I'm gonna have for a 100-mile run. So, show up at the start line of this race. It was the AUA National Championships. It's like the best ultra runners compete against each other to see how many miles you can get in 24 hours. And I'm this big bodybuilder looking guy with a
How
shirt
much
on.
did you weigh back then?
I would say I was at least 230, at least, and maybe more.
Then Jack.
Yeah, I was ripped the fuck up. I was big old chest. I was big. I was jacked up. There's a picture of me.
He definitely didn't look like someone who could run 100 miles.
No, not at all. So basically, I start running, and I get to about mile 40, mile 50, and I'm feeling pretty good. I get to mile 70, and it was the worst pain in my life. I sat down in this blue lawn chair at mile 70, and the Ritz crackers after mile 20 became Ritz cracker balls. I wasn't hydrating correctly. I didn't know what to do. I was drinking Mileplex for my nutrition because I couldn't eat these Ritz crackers. Had very minimal water, if any at all, and I was just dying. So I sat down in this blue lawn chair, and I was watching all these runners go around in this circle. I was all dizzy and lightheaded, hadn't gone to the bathroom. It's been about 12 hours. I went 70 miles, about 12 hours, which is good. And I looked at my ex-wife now, and I was like, I started seeing like 3 of her. And once my body stopped, my mind just went off. And I had to go to the bathroom. And the bathroom was like 20 feet away from me, if that. And I couldn't. And so I sat there and peed blood down my leg and started cramping up my back, and with 30 miles to go. And my feet were broken. I was just in the worst shape. Not running like that. I mean, I hadn't run in almost a year. I was just doing bodybuilding.
Tylko nie zazdrości mi jedzenia.
No running at all. I probably ran.
Już to komentowałem, że jakim trzeba być bezmózgiem, żeby zazdrościć drugiej osoby jej jedzenia. No chyba, że w Polsce taka bieda, że nie mają ludzie co do garka włożyć i zazdroszczą mi jedzenia. Nie wiem, o co chodzi.
This guy named Joe Burns, who put me through my Hell Weeks, a SEAL guy, one of the hardest guys out there.
Jedno z dwóch. Albo zero mózgu, albo bieda.
Squats, deadlifts, power cleans. Fuck it, man. You know, he's the guy that approved me to do this race.
Z ogłoszenia. No, to jest ciekawy temat w ogóle, jak znaleźć pracę w Szwajcarii. Nie jestem patriotą w ogóle. Znaleźć pracę w Szwajcarii jest bardzo łatwo. Należy napisać CV i wysyłać CV na ogłoszenia pracy w danym kraju. Następny gościu jakiś MiG-006. Nie ma mózgu i zazdrości mi jedzenia. Ja pracuję w Szwajcarii. Nigdy w życiu nie uważałem się za patriotę. I nigdy nie będę się uważał. So that's the first thing I did. I didn't panic on I had 30 more miles to go to get 100. I started about the process. Slowly but surely, Pewnie wystarczy.
And I was literally hobbling around this track, just walking. No running at all. I couldn't run. My feet were in the worst pain. It's the worst pain I've been in my entire life. Nothing in any training is even comparable to this last 30 miles. And what happened was, my ex-wife looked at me and she's like, man, we agreed I'm not going to make the time. I was going way too slow. And at that time, at mile 81, something clicked that I'll never probably be able to do again. When my mind, body, spirit, soul, everything was
Steka wołowego.
and my mind knew I wasn't fucking around anymore. It knew I wasn't going to quit.
Steki szwajcarskie najlepsze.
Buried and gone. And I was going to die out here on this fucking Walmart for whatever reason why.
Ja nie jestem prawdziwym patriotą.
I didn't give a damn.
Ja w ogóle nie jestem patriotą.
There was no trophy at the end. I wasn't even in a race in my mind.
Ja z Polski wyjechałem 15 lat temu.
It wasn't about nothing. There was no nothing. It was a bunch of people who didn't know who the fuck I was. And it was me against me. And I used all these different dark places to start bringing out light. And
Michał zazdrości mi nawet lizania noża.
20 miles. I ran 101 miles. And I ran the next 20 miles, at about a 10:30 pace. And I did 101 miles in 18 hours and 56 minutes. Sat back down that blue porta potty, now my chair that I got from Walmart. And that's when the body realized I was done. And this great feeling came over me, but also the worst pain in my life. That's when I took a humongous shit on myself. Literally like a fucking log up my fucking back. Pissed so much blood down, and my wife she was a nurse, and she was freaked out. I couldn't get up, I couldn't stand up. She backed this Camry on the knoll of the grassy area I was at, and we were both lifters at the time, so she was decently strong. I put my arms around her neck. She got me to the back seat of the car, let the window down, and I smelled like
Zjedzone.
horrible shit. And I had this poncho on because in November in San Diego, so I'm sitting there jackhammering in the back of his car, and she was terrified. I need to get the doctor. So I said, take me home. So we lived in the second deck of this apartment complex in San Diego. I got to the first deck, so I get out of the car and I could stand up. But
A na deser mleczko.
So I was leaning down because I was going to pass out. I got to the first deck, went down. Just couldn't stand up anymore. Got around her neck, worked my way up the railing, got my arms around her neck again, walked to the kitchen area, which was right in the front door. I was laying on the poncho liner, crap was everywhere. I managed, she helped me
Zależy gdzie.
into the tub, and it was like dirt was coming out of my penis. Just looked horrible, just the grossest thing in the world. It was the worst pain I could ever be in my life. And the craziest thing, I'll tell you a story because it's right now. I'm not sadistic, I'm not crazy. People may think that, they may want to put a title on me after hearing me because it makes them feel better. Because they think, wow, this guy must be some special or this fucked up crazy dude. No.
Steki i jajka.
Came from nothing. Anybody's capable of doing shit like this.
Steki i jajka tu postawa.
And I sat in that tub. She put the water on me. She called my mom up. My mom was dating a doctor at the time. The doctor said, you need to get him to a hospital now. She came back in. All I wanted to do was call Chris Costin on the phone, the race director of Badwater, and said, I fucking did it. So she said, I'm taking you to the doctor. I said, no, let me sit here and enjoy this pain. She said, what are you talking about? I said, I need to go to the doctor. I realized that. But I never thought it was
Ciągnę druty zawodowo.
to do what I did. I went 70 miles. And at 70 miles, I was dead. I was at 100%. What I thought was 100%.
Znowu Michał mi zazdrości jedzenie.
4 miles after being in the worst physical shape I've ever been in my life. And all that pain and suffering and thing was going through my fucking body. And I sat in that tub and the waters hit me. And it was the most amazing feeling of accomplishment. And I want to be numb. I want people to give me drugs and to numb this fucking pain. I did this. And as the crazy as it sounds,
Ciągnę druty w Szwajcarii. Zawodowe.
To overcome to come from this kid who was mentally torturing himself and was tortured, it's all to this guy now.
Serio ciągnę druty.
Such amazing odds and obstacles. And I called Chris Costin, the race director of Badwater, and he said, the idea of a 24-hour race is to run 24 hours. You only ran 19. And he put doubt in my mind that he would let me to Badwater. So a month later or so, about a month and a half later, I went to this race called the Hurt 100. It's a 100-mile race in Hawaii, 26,000 feet of
That
climbing.
was all he said?
Nie kupiłem jeszcze iPhone'a.
He's a hardcore dude, but he didn't know how fucked up I was.
Czekam aż mi się umowa skończy.
He didn't say, he didn't say no, I'm not gonna let you in. He put doubt in my mind and said, man, I gotta do more. So I was broken bad. And like, how long did it take you to recover physically? The funniest thing about this, I don't tell the story very often. I had signed up for, I'm getting to that answer, it's right now. I went in deployment, and me and my wife and my mom signed up for the first Las Vegas marathon down the strip of Las Vegas. And an incident happened, so I ran 100 miles before I ran a marathon. 2 weeks later, roughly, December 5th, was this marathon that we all signed up for. I couldn't walk. I could not walk. I was fucked up. So 10 days or 2 weeks after this 100-mile in one race I did, this marathon, December 5th in Las Vegas. I said, you know what, it's the first one. I can't run. Maybe I can walk with my mom. So I tried to go out to this little knoll around our grassy area in San Diego. I tried to run. Legs were broken. I said, fuck, I can't even, I'm jacked. Can't do shit. So I said, you know what, maybe I'll watch you guys do the marathon and I'll cheer you guys on, whatever. And I said, I'll try to rock with my mom. December 5th happened. That gun went off. 2005, 14 days after, I broke myself off and I qualified for the Boston Marathon. I ran 3:08.
That's crazy.
And what's funny about it, I know people here says, motherfucker, even when I tell you
Nie, znaczy
I dropped,
ja szukałem roboty 3 lata temu. No to 3 lata temu długo szukałem, bo były wtedy granice zamknięte. Czekałem aż się granice otworzą. No ale jak się już otworzyły, no to szybko dostałem robotę.
I heard some black dude from fucking Brazil talking about this happened, 3 weeks, ran to school, ran 100 miles, broke my feet, broke my body. I'm like, he's the biggest fucking liar on the planet. Ain't nobody doing that shit. You see, even when I tell him my story, it almost sounds like some made up shit. So yeah, 14 days later.
Crazy is you ran 100 miles before you ever ran a marathon.
Right.
Then you didn't run again at all, and you still qualified for the Boston Marathon. So you ran a 3:08.
Right.
For the first marathon you ever did. 2 weeks after you ran 100 miles.
Right.
With no training and nothing in between.
But it gets better than that. You can see my training log that I actually posted up. So
Słabo mówię po angielsku.
For the Hurt 100. So basically what happened was, after that, I had about 4 weeks.
What did it feel like to run that 3:08 if you could barely walk?
When that gun went off,
W środku Szwajcarii.
and I didn't feel that much pain at all. Afterwards I did, but something happened where I was like, the gun went off and that thing came back. Like, all right, man, what if? Because I wanted to qualify for Boston. That was my goal. But I was jacked up, you know, and I didn't run as much as I should have at all over my Iraq training. I hit the weights, but my goal was, and I signed up for it a year early, I wanted to qualify for Boston, which was a 3:10:59. And I was like, what if you can qualify for Boston, man? You just ran 100. So what helped me out? I just ran 101 miles. What the fuck is 26 miles to me now? So the mindset going into it was like, I ran 75 more miles than this. So I used it to my advantage. So after that happened, I ran with my feet pretty much broken. I would go to the physical therapist, and they had this compression tape. Compression tape helped because my feet were pretty bad off. And I would run 70, 80, 100-mile weeks. And then I went to the Hurt 100, race in Hawaii, 26,000 feet of climbing over 100 miles. Probably one of the top 5 hardest 100-mile races in the world. I wasn't even a real runner. Yeah, I banked a lot of miles by the last what, 2 months. But I wasn't a runner. Went out there and got through the race. Did it in 33 hours. Was a 9th place finisher. Not many people finished that year. And I qualified for Badwater and got in. And I went on to lose weight and train hard. And I got 5th my first year and went back my second year and got 3rd.
When you say
Nie, dzisiaj
what were you eventually weighing?
So
Aktualnie
I
jak
was
wyjech...
about 190.
Aktualnie pada deszcz i jest
Right.
That's over a
Jest
short
chyba
period of time.
18 stopni tu.
Once again, I just worked out hard. I stopped taking my protein so much. I was on this stuff called Nitro Tech. And I got off all the protein stuff. I stopped hitting the weight so hard. And I just became a running fool. Became the Black Forest Gump, man, pretty much. Pretty simple, man. That's what happened.
Now, when you say you were using compression tape on your feet and that your feet were jacked up, what was the extent of the injury?
So basically, because of my pronation, I never figured out because of my psoas muscles. I always had issues with stretch fractures, shin splints. So I put a lot of pressure on the inside of my ankles. And so there's
No, 18 stopni i pada deszcz.
the backside of your, I don't know if it's your fibula, on the backside of that little bone on the backside of your foot. It goes right up the side of that, right alongside that bone. And that thing was just so flared up on both sides that even this flexing my foot was just killing me. So I realized when you cast that thing up, casting my feet always helped me out because it locked my foot into a position that wouldn't make me pronate as much. So between the casting of that
Ale w sobotę ma być ciepło. W sobotę ma być bezchmurne niebo i 29 stopni.
Because I went to the race with compression tape on my ankles. And so basically I have that on my ankles. I had inserts in my shoes and also this wedge on the back heel of my left foot. So then it would keep me from pronating that heel so much. So I had all that on just to go run. And I ran my ass off and went to Badwater in 2006 and I with compression tape on my feet and walked a lot, but I got third place.
Do you always run with regular running shoes?
I do, yeah. So now I don't have
Pierwsze słyszę, że jest jakiś mecz
stretching has opened my
Polska,
body up
Szkocja. Nie.
how it should have been. So my alignment is
Wydaje mi się, że Szkocja wygra, ale nawet nie wiem, w czym ten mecz jest.
regular running shoes now. No more compression tape. No more none of
Nie
that.
znam
So you see
się.
now, if you look down there,
Pierwsze
you see
słyszę, że jest jakiś
the
mecz.
compression tape, and you'll see my ex-wife here in a second taking
Ale obstawiam
the
Szkocję.
compression tape off of me. She's doing it
Ciemno.
now.
Nieważne, co to za mecz.
Yeah.
See the tape?
Yeah.
So that's the tape.
Jestem za
I wear every
Szkocją.
day of my life to run.
Wow.
Trzymam kciuki za Szkocję.
The story may be kind of unbelievable.
A piłka nożna. No to Szkocja na 100% wygra.
So that's how I
3-0.
Yeah, I was pretty fucked up. As you see right now, me trying to get up.
Oh, man.
Yeah, I'm pretty destroyed right there.
What is the most amount of miles you've ever run?
At one time,
Yeah.
205 and 39 hours.
Wow.
Yeah, nonstop.
Whew. Yeah, I've had quite a few people on. I've met quite a few people now over the last year or so that have run ultras. Courtney Dowalter, you know who she is? She won the Moab.
Okay,
230,
yeah, I heard about
240
it.
rather.
Heard about it.
Yeah, she beat all the men by 22 miles, something like that. Some crazy thing. She was first place winner. She beat everybody else.
That's sick.
Second place winner. And with her, I mean, you would never believe it. When you talk to her, she seems so normal.
Right.
She drinks beer and eats nachos
Oh, yeah.
and eats candy.
That's ultra runner, man.
She's just silly and she's fun.
Yep.
And there's no demon there.
No.
I'm like waiting to meet a demon.
Right.
You know, I'm like, where's your demon?
Right.
Like, how are you getting through that? Her demon's a quiet demon.
Right.
It's there. It has to be
Oh,
there.
there's something there.
It has to be. There's no other people everybody I know that can do that as a
A
demon.
lot of us don't want to admit the shit.
Yeah.
We got it.
Oh, 100%. It has to be.
Yeah.
So when you do this and you qualify and you do that race in Hawaii,
Right.
they just let you in after that?
No, so the race in Hawaii, yeah, I actually called the race director up, and it wasn't like a big time, like I didn't have 100 miles.
Umiem, znam zasady w szachy, ale słaby jestem w grze.
I had.
Nie trenowałem nigdy szachów, tak?
You did the Boston Marathon, or you did the Vegas Marathon?
Yeah,
Tak dla jaj czasami się z kimś zagram.
Vegas Marathon.
Ale słaby jestem w szachach.
Did that 100 miler.
And all this is in a very short amount of time.
Yeah, so November was the first 100 miler. December was the 26 miler in Las Vegas. January was the next 100 mile in Hawaii.
Do you know how fucking crazy that is? Like, say if I was your friend and I called you up on October 20th and I go, hey man, how many times do you run? Like, I run every now
You
and
want to see
then.
something crazy? I don't know if you can pull it up or not, but if you can pull up my race schedule for 2007, just pull up David Goggins' race results. You can see something real crazy in a second. This is good. And I gotta show you proof, because why? I know my story doesn't make any sense, but just look at the dates of these races. And we're gonna show it to you in a second. It's just look at the 100 miles and 50 miles.
Chyba trzeba kończyć tego lighta.
How many weekends there were between
Widzę, że już wszystkie pytania zostały zadane.
So if you look at 2007, you gotta go all the way down. Keep on going. 2007. See those races there?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, get right there. So 100 miler Hawaii.
Oh,
Then you
Jesus
look up.
Christ.
2 weeks later, 3 weeks later, another one. That's 50 miler. A 50 miler. A month later, then you're looking at 14 days later, another 50K. 50 miler. A month later, then you look at less than a month, another 50 miler. 53 miler in June. July was another 100 miler. Badwater was literally.
Christ.
Badwater was a month after I did that 100 miler, 135 miler. Leadville.
Trenuję.
A month after Badwater.
Trening robię właśnie.
3 weeks after Leadville. Angels Crest.
Trening klatki
2
piersiowej.
days, a week after that 100 miler. The Bear 100 was 13 days after that 100 miler. Jesus Christ. And then I ran the 200, and it said 203.5, but I didn't ran 200. It's 205 miles I ran there. But what's not in there was that McNaughton race I did in 2000. So that 150 mile race, I also did in 2007. That wasn't listed.
Chyba będę musiał zablokować tą Annę Jaroszewską. Jeszcze raz napiszę to samo, to blok.
I still run the same mileage now. What fucked my body up was Hell Week. Really? Oh yeah. You don't go through 3 Hell Weeks in 1 year. So what happened when I realized that my body was really jacked up was I was a big time squatter. Love squatting. And I went through the first Hell Week, got messed up. Second Hell Week I got all the way through. Then third Hell Week I got all the way through. My third Hell Week we had a guy die on Thursday. And then that Hell Week ended, and I graduated from pulmonary edema. It was a cold, his name was John Scott. Cold as fuck Hell Week. The Pacific Ocean is never warm. And it rained the whole time. The whole time it just rained. And he pretty much just drowned in his own fluid, pretty much. We were in the pool doing some evolution. He sunk to the bottom. His temperature was hot. He missed a lot of Hell Week for getting pulled out for different stuff. He wasn't going to quit. And he ended up dying in Hell Week. But yeah, so anyway, after Hell Week ended, I want to go back to the gym. You know, so second phase happened, diet phase. Like I didn't get back in the gym, started jacking my weight. I love jacking weight. And I realized I couldn't squat. So I went from squatting a lot to where I couldn't even squat the bar because my lower back was all fucked up. And I was like, oh no, what's going on? It was because this muscle. So in Hell Week, your hip flexors are so, and I went through so many of them so fast. And so the hardest part of Buds, I went through 3 times. Not the Hell Week part. Yeah, that's one of the hardest parts, but it was the initial part of what everybody sees on TV. The log PT, the surf torture, the daggone boats over your head, all that shit. I went through that portion 3 times in 1 year. And over a period of time, my hip flexors got so tight that it just jacked me up. It jacked me up. My hip flexors, so always being so cold and so stressed out. And everything led up to it, but this really was the part that I noticed I could squat before Hell Week or before my first time going to Buds. After Buds, I couldn't squat anymore.
Do you just think it might just be because your body was exhausted?
No, because I for 12 years, so I would go back and tough it out like with Joe Burns. He was squatting, so I said, fuck, I'm going to squat with Joe Burns. But I just couldn't squat because that muscle was attached to your T12.
So what was it doing to you? Was it locking up?
It was just pulling. Mm-hmm. So it made my hips feel like I just couldn't sink my ass.
Oh, okay.
I couldn't sink. So it was this incredible pain. And then with the weight pushing me down and then trying to push up, the pain was just too much.
So this is all range of motion issues.
All range of motion issues, yeah.
Wow, that's an important thing for my friend Cam Haynes, who doesn't stretch. He's another friend of mine who runs ultra races. He ran that Moab 240. He's run the Bigfoot 205. He's run a few of those.
Right.
I know he's listening. Go stretch, dude.
Yeah, it's important, man.
Yeah, well, especially if you're working that hard, right? If you're doing that much.
Yeah, you're definitely locking up.
He could barely touch his toes.
Yeah, that's not a good thing.
That's not good, right? No.
No, it comes back to hurt you inside pretty soon.
Now, how flexible are you now? Because I would imagine you're probably a fucking ballerina at this point.
What's
Because
sad
knowing
is-
your brain.
I'm trying to get there. So I stretch every night for at least 2 hours.
There's a thing that people say that it'll always piss me off. Like, because I'm pretty flexible. They say, oh, you're naturally flexible. People have a natural threshold. They're like, no, they don't. Like, a doctor told me that. I go, you don't know what you're talking about. I'm like, you don't know what you're talking about because most people don't push themselves past that pain, that stretch pain.
Right? People want to put a title on you, man. It's easier
Yeah.
for them. Oh, you're just fucking natural.
Exactly.
You're natural.
Exactly.
No, you don't work hard enough, motherfucker.
Yeah. People build.
Chyba skończyły się pytania. Dobra, nic.
You have to force yourself.
Dzięki za dzisiaj.
And, I know it because I had a friend. My friend Tom.
Trzymajcie się.
Jack, big, thick dude.
Uh-huh.
Terrible flexibility.
I do następnego.
Right.
And over the course of a couple years, I saw that dude eventually develop a full split.
There you go.
He did it through his